Hi, I'm Chelsea Jade, and this is my interview with Wavelength.
So my first question is, what are 3 words you would use to describe your sound to people who haven't heard your music before?
3 words I would use to describe my sound would be introverted, extroverted. And then the third one, I don't know, palate. Just because I think that palate kind of evokes something in the mouth, like a taste, but then it also evokes like colors and kind of like orderly colors, so like colors that belong together.
So one thing I think that is really cool is how you operate so independently as an artist. Since you're so involved with every aspect of the creative process, what's your favorite part about it?
My favorite part, I think the question that would probably make more sense to me, the way I'd filter that question through is to say, what is the part that means the most to me? And I think lyrics are really the absolute nucleus of how I think about what I do. So like nothing would exist unless there was this very meticulously carved away set of words that that's what I work really hard on doing the most. Well, that's what I pour most of my energy into.
So looking back on the album, which came out in May, which song do you still feel the most connected to and why?
I would have said probably like 3 or 4 days ago, I would have said Laugh It Off, because it's just the closest to my personality, I think, of everything on the record. It's kind of like a little bit dismissive. I'm the kind of person who'll laugh at an appropriate moment, and I think that it's a defense mechanism, and I think that song speaks to that. But then also, one of the first songs I wrote for this record, we've just started playing it in the set, and I've found it really special. It's Colorsome, which was really one of the first songs I wrote for this.
So now I'm going to do a little section where I'm going to ask questions based on the track titles.
Okay.
So they're going to be somewhat loosely inspired by the titles.
Okay.
So personal best, what's your proudest accomplishment unrelated to music?
I don't know about proudest, but I definitely felt extremely accomplished when very out of character, I completed a 10-day silent meditation retreat, and that was extremely difficult, and I can't see myself ever doing it again. I'm very cynical, but I did achieve it, and I felt very accomplished at the end of that.
Well, congrats.
Thank you.
What kind of, did you have to just be silent for a while?
10 days of silence, and then you meditate for 8 hours a day. They teach you how to meditate.
Huh.
Yeah, it's like meditation boot camp.
Ride or cry. So I'm guessing there's some new music in the works, right? Is it going to be more songs, more ride songs or cry songs?
I think probably cry songs.
Really?
Yeah, mostly because I think that whenever one does something to its depth, there's always the inclination to pivot and to do the opposite thing. So I think that probably it's going to be a lot of weepy songs.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting because your music seems so upbeat and energetic.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We'll see if I actually follow through on that. But
was there a reason why that's starting to happen for you? Why you're writing sadder songs? Or
yeah, I think that personal best was a lot about pumping myself up in ways making myself feel larger than my own life, kind of, in order to get through it. And I think there's also something to be said of making yourself small so you can slither through life. It's the same kind of like you want to move forward, but you're just finding different ways to do it. And I think I just feel more introspective.
Life at the party. If you can invite any 3 artists to a party, who would they be?
I mean, I'm on tour with Moona right now. Can I take the whole band?
Sure.
Okay, well, I'll take them.
That can be one.
Because it's nice, because I think we've developed a rapport. It's nice to have people at a party that you kind of know. You can like look across the room and you can both have a mutual understanding about something. So that's a familiar one. What else? Who else? Honestly, I'd like to just invite my artist friends. Like, my friend Lontalius just put out a record. I want to talk to him about it. I haven't seen him since he put it out, so I'll invite him. And who can be a third one? I'm going to say Luna Shadows. She's also a homie.
Perfect Stranger. So I'm twisting this one a little. So your cover artwork features these like really cool sort of clones of you.
Yeah.
What does that like symbolize?
Initially it was kind of just a gag, like ha ha ha, like I'm just hanging out with myself. I'm always kind of lonely and it's just me and me. But then it evolved into the cover art, which is still a clone of me, but it's kind of a culmination of that idea of you're measuring yourself against yourself and nobody else. And the final picture of Personal Best was like a team photo of the two of me on the same team looking out at the receiver of the album, being like, it's kind of like a challenge and a welcome.
Lowbrow. So I read that you were basically like dismissed by a male producer when you wanted to learn production.
Yeah.
That might have made you feel low. But then you found some amazing female friends that helped you out. What's the most important thing you've learned about production since then?
The most important thing I've learned, and that I would impart to anybody, male or female or in between, whatever, is that you are the only one that can close the door. Like, someone might tell you that it's not possible. It's not impossible until you decide it isn't. So like, I really feel strongly that like entry points are the most important thing about learning production. It is unfortunate that people try to make you feel like there aren't entry points, but there's always somebody better willing to help you, or like you can help yourself, to be honest.
Pitch Dark. So are you the type of songwriter that gets inspired at like 3 a.m., gets like a stroke of inspiration, or are your songs more like carefully planned out?
It's a combination of the two. I think when the conditions are right, everything that's been percolating in your brain, which is work also, like you're working on kind of nourishing your receptors and synapses and stuff, and then as soon as the conditions are right, there's like this blossoming that can happen, and you kind of just gotta like be ready to nurture the thing. But I think that both elements are required. So
yeah,
you've got to I think you've got to be switched on and observant all the time and taking note of what's happening in your surroundings. And then you also have to create space and time and an environment to actually ruminate and create the thing out of what you've been thinking about.
Color sum. If you could paint a picture of your music, what would it look like and what colors would you use?
Okay, easy question, surprisingly. I love this certain color blue, and it's the Yves Klein blue. Do you know the artist Yves Klein?
Yes.
So that deep blue, that I think he invented it. It's kind of this, just like, you can't reproduce the blue in print. Like, you have to, it's a specific paint, and it's so velvety and endless. You could just look into this blue forever. That's what I want my music to sound like. It's like, it's infinity blue.
I love that, and that's
ultramarine.
interesting because it's like very individualistic. Like, you can't recreate it.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
That,
and also, I heard this interesting story about this person, this art restorer who was restoring an Eve Klein blue. And apparently she just had to spend like months and months looking into, just like every day looking at this blue like scape. And her mother would send her orange objects in the mail just to cleanse her palette. It's like she'd find an orange thing and send it to her daughter. I just love that story.
Laugh it off. So you have a lot of clever humor in your lyrics. What's one humorous phrase you've written that stands out to you, and why?
I really like the lyric in Oversensitive that goes, I really want to feel for you, boy, but the nervous ones are always such a dream to destroy. I think that's such a bratty thing to say. And really, like, the reason it's funny to me is because I'm so easily destroyed. Like, I'm the nervous one.
Oversensitive. What's one lyric that stands out that's maybe more on the sensitive side?
That's a good question. I guess, like, Perfect Stranger as a whole is a hypersensitive song. I feel like very vulnerable. I think maybe I really like she's the phosphorescence you could never touch, but you keep running your hands through where you thought she was. It's like to me, I couldn't capture that any better. Like you're reaching for this magical thing that is never really there for you to touch.
High beam. What's been the highlight of touring so far?
Ooh. There's so many highlights of touring, honestly. I've noticed my friends who are not on tour have been messaging me saying, you seem really happy. And I'm like, yeah, I guess I am. Like, this is like probably this is probably what I'm meant to be doing, you know? I actually feel whole and happy doing this. Somebody threw a mood ring at me on stage. That was pretty sick.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Are you wearing it?
It's in my, it's safely in my bag. Sometimes I don't want to risk losing it.
True.
Yeah.
If you were wearing it, what would it be? What color would it be?
I think it would be black. It seems like
it would match your outfit.
Chilly climbs. Yeah. That's why. Yeah. It'll match my outfit.
Speedboat. If you could take a speedboat anywhere in the world right now, where would you go?
Ooh. That's a good question. I mean, I guess like if it would get me to Canada quicker, like that's our next tour date. I don't want to skip any of the dates, you know. So and can everyone on the tour bus, can they also get on the speedboat?
Yeah, it's a magical speedboat.
Okay, cool. Yeah, Canada probably.
Okay, so you just keep going where you are right now. That's a good sign.
Yeah, totally.